to follow where you are. I'm wishing on the day to follow what it means. I'm wishing on the stars to follow where you are. Wishing on the dream to follow what it means. And I wish on all the I see. I wish on all the people who I wish on tomorrow. I wish on all the I never thought I'd see a time when you would be far away from home, so far away from me. Just think of all the ways that we stood. I just can't let you go from me. And I didn't mean to hurt you, but I know that it never loved me. What you say? I feel it's always you make up. What's up, y'all? How's my sound? Let me know in the comments, please. Give me some thumbs up in the comments if my sound is sounding. Welcome, welcome. Please be sure to hit that like button on your way in, guys. This one is going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. So go ahead and strap on your seatbelts. Take a seat. Replay gang, I'm talking to you too. Be sure to hit that like button on your way in. I would like this video to be in the suggested videos on YouTube. Thank you guys in advance for tapping in. Let me let some people get in here. Share the stream, guys. Share the stream. To follow where you are. All right. If I had one wish. 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 One wish, one wish, one wish. One wish, one wish, one wish. One wish, one wish, one wish. One wish, one wish. Y'all, I am so petty. Petty Betty's what they call me. Petty Betty is what they call it me. Okay? So, I am just chilling, minding my business. You know, last night was a late night for me on Beyonce's internet because there was a whole bunch of shenanigans and happenings going on. It was wild. Last night was wild for me. I still have a lot of editing to do. The content, excuse me, guys, content will be contenting. I have a couple of videos that I will be releasing here shortly to you guys. Okay, I see the thumbs up. I have a couple of videos that I will be releasing very soon, so stay tuned for that. If you're not already subbed up, go ahead and become a subby so that you are notified when I go live or add new content. So as I was saying, I was sitting around minding my business today, trying to relax, trying to recuperate from last night because I was busy, busy, busy. And then I get a message. I get a message, y'all. I get a message from one of the, well, I would say a current, I'm going to say a current cult member. I think I could classify this person as a current cult member. And I'm going to share, well, first, let me preface it by saying they're really grasping at straws at this moment in time. But let me just show you real quick. And then we'll get into more detail about this is the chain of events. I received this particular video, and then I'm going to read some of the comments and my responses, and then we're going to get into the nitty and the gritty. So this is the
Superior
video.
Court judge in DeKalb County is giving in to calls for her to step down from her role on the investigative panel of the Judicial Qualifications Commission. Now, these demands were made over Judge Stacey Hydrick's now deleted social media post about Gaza and the remains of an Israeli mother and her 2 sons. This week, the Council on American Islamic Relations of Georgia, or CAIR, condemned her post, saying her remarks demonstrate a clear bias against Palestinians and Muslims. The organization welcomed Hydrick's resignation, saying in part, quote, all those who administer justice in our state should avoid the perception that their biased views may impact their judicial actions.
Okay. I'm going to play it one more time.
Superior Court judge in DeKalb County is giving in to calls for her to step down from her role on the investigative panel of the Judicial Qualifications Commission. Now, these demands were made over Judge Stacey Hydrick's now deleted social media post about Gaza and the remains of an Israeli mother and her 2 sons. This week, the Council on American Islamic Relations of Georgia, or CAIR, condemned her post, saying her remarks demonstrate a clear bias against Palestinians and Muslims. The organization welcomed Hydrick's resignation, saying in part, quote, all those who administer justice in our state should avoid the perception that their biased views may impact their judicial actions.
Okay, so I received this video this afternoon, and I immediately started digging, like, when is this from? What's going on? So guys, the Honorable Judge Stacey Hydrick did indeed take to Beyonce's internet and made comments regarding the remains of a woman and her children who were returned uh, unalived to their homeland, I guess. And I guess the natives were cheering or, happy about them coming back or what have you. Now, I'm going to play another clip. I only can play the audio because Restream would not allow me to upload it. I don't know why, but I will post shorts on my channel so that you guys can see this guy. He is an attorney in the state of Georgia, and he is somewhat leading the charge for Judge Stacey Hydrick to step down from the bench. Okay? So here we go. Hold on. Superior Court Judge. Hold on. Okay, guys. So Judge Stacey Hydrick today, DeKalb County Superior Court Judge, posted on Facebook that, well, why don't I just show it to you? I am absolutely broken on the heels of watching the IDF video footage of the aftermath of the October 7th massacre. These beautiful innocent babies and their mother were returned to Israel in coffins, while Gazans rejoice in celebration. Nothing else matters to me right now. Nothing. If anyone has no issues with Hamas, believes there are innocent civilians in Gaza, or thinks October 7th was about land resistance or somehow justified in any way, you must watch this footage and hear with your own ears how the jihadists and the people of Gaza were celebrating and gloating about their brutal murder of Jews, not about
their murder of Israelis, but their murder of Jews. And tell me what you think it was about. So this is a judge who is questioning others, is mocking others about there not being any innocent civilians in Gaza. There are no innocent civilians in Gaza, y'all. So if people are not innocent, they're guilty. And if they're guilty, they should pay the price of their crime, right? You do the crime, you must do the time. But in this environment of genocide, paying the price is actually killing them, right? So this judge, who is not only a judge in a superior court, but also the head of the Judicial Qualifications Commission, so this is an oversight committee to check on judges' conduct. She's the head of that. Implies that all of Gazans, all of Palestinians in Gaza should be decimated, should be genocided. Because why? There are no innocents. There are no innocent civilians in Gaza. As a Palestinian, which I have been in her courtroom many times over the past decade of my practice, how am I supposed to feel? How am I supposed to feel that I'm going to get a fair shake because Palestinian and potentially living in Gaza, right? Had my mom not moved from there, she was born in Gaza in 1965. Had I been there, I'm innocent. But according to her, I'm not, because I just so happen to be Palestinian in Gaza. So I'd be guilty by association. I would be guilty by mere presence. How would I, as a potential litigant or even an attorney of a person of color or Palestinian or Arab or Muslim, because I am a Palestinian American Muslim attorney, how am I supposed to feel? Is not incredibly racist? Is this not incredibly repulsive? How is she allowed to make such a statement? Not only as a judge, but as a person. Do we not have any humanity? Right? This is not a game. My own family members have been killed due to the genocide. You're supposed to be a judge. So immediately after I saw that, I went on the JQC website, the Judicial Qualifications Commission website. I know it's going to go to her, but she should recuse herself. And I made a complaint, because how can we hold a judge in public confidence that makes these comments so arrogantly? And shows her anti-Palestinian sentiment. How can we trust this person to not be influenced by her beliefs? This is the epitome of Jewish supremacy. This is incredibly racist. And no one who has these types of feelings and this animus against any ethnic group should be allowed to hold a position of power and authority. So I urge every attorney to go on the Judicial Qualifications Commission website and file a complaint. This is the least that you can do. Do you really want someone like that, who has animus against Jews, for example, on the bench? Who has an animus against Mexicans on the bench? Who has an animus against Black people? So why is this anti-Palestinian sentiment okay? It's not okay. It is not okay. I understand that I'm putting myself in jeopardy, but my family has been torn to pieces and crushed beneath the rubble of their homes. Do you think I care that I'm putting myself on the line? They've been killed. What's worse? What are you going to do? Torture me? They've been tortured. They've been blown to... The least you can do is go on the website and file this complaint, as I just did, because there is no reason that this person should be and remain on the bench. Okay.
So he has very strong feelings regarding the comments that the Honorable Judge Stacey Hydrick made regarding Gaza, and the unaliving of Jewish women and children. And let me continue with what I said is old. Then they said, how old? And then they said, this is huge. And I didn't see you report on it. I just saw it was back in February. And I said, I actually went back. I said, oh, no, it's new. The post is new. Then they say that life plus 10 years without the possibility of parole is not going to age well. Then I say, and I'm reading directly from my DMs, y'all, so bear with me because I got to take screenshots and read it. Then I said that was posted 4 hours ago. The post that she sent me was posted 4 hours ago. And I didn't look to see who the poster was, but it's probably somebody from Too Much. Then they said, now I know you wasn't gatekeeping this from us, MEDAYA. We be counting on you for all trial updates. I didn't even see that message. That's funny. I said, this isn't going to change the threes situation. They say this judge is racist. Trump about to pardon Chief quick. At the very least, he will receive a new trial. Not only is she racist, but she was not professional and did not follow proper protocol for the COVID guidelines. Mama is working. We will revisit this conversation soon, this convo sooner than later. And then I said, well, I'm going to look further into this because honestly, I could have sworn this was old, but maybe it's a different judge. I don't know. Then I said, "Are you?" I said, "Are you?" I said, "Oh," I said their name. I said blank. You do realize that Trump is also a racist, right? Then they come back. Now this is where it gets really interesting. Okay. Y'all listening? Put some emojis in the chat because now we about to get into the nitty and the gritty of this. And then they say, and true, aka Aaron, but they refuse to call him Aaron. So I'm going to read this message that I received as is, okay? So for those of you who are listening, whenever I say true, I am referring to Mr. Aaron Dixon. They say, and true just did an April's Fool's joke that he saw proof that would bring Chief home. He went on with the joke throughout the day just for him to hold that energy, and it played out in real life. LOL. Tell True, aka Aaron, I said thank you for helping speaking this into existence. Then they replied to me about the president when I say, do they realize that he's also racist? They said, well, if he is, at least he is bold about it and not hiding the fact that he is biased, unlike Stacey Hydrick, who appeared to be unbiased when in actuality she is. Also, do you know Trump is your president, right? Trust that he will get the job done. I said, well, Aaron has been saying Eligio is unalived in his in a freak accident for the past week. So I don't know if I would be so thankful because he's manifesting he's manifesting a whole different thing now. Then I also said to them, and I sent them the link. I said, oh, regarding the presidency, I said, no, he's the president for the American people. I'm not American. I'm a permanent resident alien, a green card holder. So technically, he's not my president. And I really don't think anything else is going to happen to her. She stepped down from the site committee. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pause in the DMs there, and I'm gonna play this audio for you guys because the Honorable Judge Stacey Hydrick did indeed step down from her position from the Oversight Committee recently. Let's see. Let's get this right. Hold on. Is called to resign over controversial Gaza remarks. Mark Washington. DeKalb County Superior Court Judge DeKalb County Judge Stacey Hydrick faces calls to resign over controversial Gaza remarks. Mark Washington. DeKalb County Superior Court Judge Stacey Hydrick is finding herself at the heart of controversy following a social media outburst related to the conflict in Gaza. The judge's remarks, which have since been scrubbed from the digital sphere, spoke to the tragic story of Shiri Bibas and her children, whose remains were returned to Israel following their abduction by Hamas on October 7, 2023. The Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE of Georgia. In the wake of the backlash, Judge Hydrick defended her humanity, the natural inclination to respond to what one perceives as horrific events. She noted, judges are human beings. We see and hear things that cause us to feel emotion and to speak out, in a statement that Fox 5 Atlanta obtained. Recognizing the varied perspectives that may receive her words differently, Hydrick vowed to continue adhering to the rules of judicial conduct, emphasizing her commitment to recuse herself from cases that might call her impartiality into question. Matters intensified when screenshots shared by CARE revealed that Hydrick questioned the innocence of civilians in Gaza, a statement that fanned the flames of the current outcry against her. Hard to believe there are any after watching what I saw, she stated in response to a comment on her now deleted Facebook post, according to information provided by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. CARE harshly critiqued Hydrick's stance, labeling her words as hateful anti-Palestinian remarks and impelling her to offer a public apology. The controversy arises at a delicate juncture where, despite a teetering ceasefire, the Gaza Health Ministry reports over 46,000 Palestinian civilian casualties in the past 15-plus months. The situation casts a shadow of doubt on the fairness and impartiality expected from someone of Hydrick's legal stature, a position echoed by CARE's response to her engagement with commenters online, including Palestinian lawyers from Georgia who have lost relatives in the conflict. Courtney Veal, director of the Judicial Qualifications Commission, JQC, confirmed that the investigative panel is aware of the judge's comments and will follow the processes set forth in the JQC rules to see that any related complaints are properly considered, as disclosed by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Ongoing discussions continue regarding the role of judges in public discourse, their ability to maintain impartiality, and the implications of their extrajudicial expressions in a connected world. The JQC is set to make a decision on the matter, as differing perspectives persist within the community. Okay, so now let's go back to the DMs because I actually sent her that article. And then she said, nah, in response to what I said about Aaron manifesting Eligio being unalived in a freak accident. She said, nah, it didn't work like that. The positive energy always gonna outweigh the negative. Ask yourself, why would he even play like that? Why would Solar send a cash app? Why would Stacy openly make racist comments like that? Talk. Um, and I think this is because it says talk, trying to blame Chief for everything that when these people clearly got issues. And I said, who's trying to blame him for everything? Because I didn't understand that part. Now, this is audio, but I didn't get their permission, so I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna play the audio. I didn't get their permission, and I think that would be wrong. But long story short, as far as the audio goes, they were basically saying, reiterating the same thing. Like, this is going to give Nature Boy an opportunity to get out of prison because of the comments that Judge Stacey Hydrick made regarding the current situation going on in Gaza. Now, I said I wouldn't get too excited though. Georgia is a racist state. At most, he might get a new trial, which won't matter because she said no from his own mouth. So there's no way around that. I said I'm not trying to defend anybody. I'm just being honest. I said bro confessed to grape. Then I also went on to say, and I was going on in the conversation, and then they respond. But I also went on to say he should have accepted his right to remain silent. You know, when they say anything you say can and may be used against you in a court of law, the man should have been so quiet they would have thought he was a mute. But no, Nature Boy talked to the cops 12:50 for almost an hour. His own words got him in this situation. And now this is their response. He never confessed to anything. Just like y'all said, she meant something else when she said they made love several times. Nine already broke that part down. I know you saw her video to context versus content. You know how much woman be mad in the moment, like not let not not let don't let me go. I'm leaving, but they want their man to fight them for them, and they and for the attention. She could have easily gotten into her Uber and left. Instead, she insisted and persisted to go speak with him. Therefore, she could have never, hold on, let me continue because this is a long one. I gotta do another screenshot. Therefore, hold on, where was I? Okay, therefore, she could have never possibly felt that her life was in danger. Mind you, no grape allegations did not come up in her initial reports. It wasn't until she realized he would not get arrested for that. So weeks later, she decided to take it up a notch, bring the police back out, just for her to still never use the word grape in her overall report. The police had to coerce her into thinking a crime was committed. I gotta do another screenshot, y'all. The police had to coerce her into thinking that a crime was committed. She didn't know for herself. Real grape victims know if they were graped. It's it's something you don't forget. Then they say, mind you, Kendra didn't know if she wanted to have intercourse with him. How confusing is that? When you know that man, when you know that man over there slinging, hold on, y'all. I gotta, I gotta pause. How, hold on, y'all. This part is kind of funny. How confusing is that? When you know that man over there slinging Mandingo warrior yick, why she choose wanting to be a wife so bad if she wasn't sure about having intercourse with him? She chose that over being a wife to True and playing left him playing daddy daycare with True. Then she responded to my message where I said, no, he's the president or whatever. Then she says, and child, you are on American soil. Respect for the law and respect the law. President Trump, LOL. Then I responded, I said, my response to her is, okay, but there's no way to get around him saying she said no. When you speak to law enforcement as a victim or the alleged predator, they apply the applicable law. She didn't ever have to say she was raped. It's how she explained things, how she explained is how she explained how things transpired. When Nature Boy spoke to law enforcement and he said she said no, that right there put the nail in his coffin. He should have been mute. I understand your perspective, but he plucked up talking to to the cops, period. Now, I also said at this point, it's wishful thinking on your part because he confessed to grape in the eyes of the law. Then she responds back to that and she says, I guess the same goes for her saying they made love several times and how she did want to give it to him. He say, she say, which was not pointed out in his past trial. Why did they push so hard to keep that out? Next, next won't be the same judge, process, or outcome. If the universe can get the head, if the universe can get the head of the judge to type racist comments on the internet, what else can possibly happen? I guess Nature Boy's saga continues. And I said, well, no, I said, we shall see. And I said their name. Now, based on the statements made by Judge Stacey Hydrick, which were extremely unfortunate, inappropriate, and unprofessional on her part, I don't believe that she should have uh, taken to social media to air her grievances regarding the situation because of her position and her stature. However, as she stated, we're all humans. Um, this all occurred also, guys, in the month of February, around February 27th, 2025. Judge Stacey Hydrick did resign, not from the bench. She resigned from her position as the chair and leader of the JQC. Now, what is the JQC? For those of you who are not familiar with what that is, the JQC is the Judicial Qualifications Commission. The JQC was created by constitutional amendment in 1972, then reconstituted by constitutional amendment in 2016 to conduct investigations and hearings with respect to complaints of ethical misconduct by Georgia judges. The commission also authorized, I'm sorry, the commission is also authorized to issue um, advisory opinions regarding judicial misconduct. So she was actually, and it's an elected position. She was elected and I believe she served on that board for a number of years and was reelected quite a few times. A little bit more about Judge Stacey Hydrick, the Honorable Judge Stacey Hydrick. She has served the citizens of DeKalb County as a judge for nearly a decade, first as a state court judge for more than 8 years, and now on the superior court since 2019. Judge Hydrick began her legal career as an assistant district attorney in Augusta Judicial Circuit, where she prosecuted felonies and misdemeanors in Richmond, Columbia, and Butte counties. She went on to work as an assistant attorney general in the office of the Georgia Attorney General's Special Prosecution Division, where she focused on combating public corruption cases. She was later recruited to be a chief senior assistant district attorney for Fulton County District Attorney's Office, where she started the office's first public integrity unit. For almost 10 years of serving as a prosecutor, Judge Hydrick left criminal law to become a civil attorney with the firm of Gray, Hydrick, and Edenfield. She worked there for 5 years as an associate and then made partner, where she remained until she was appointed to the bench. While serving as a Superior Court judge, Judge Hydrick remains active in numerous board related and community organizations. She is a graduate of the leadership DeKalb class of 2012, has served as the secretary of the DeKalb Bar Association since 2013, and is a board member of the judicial section of the Atlanta Bar Association. She also serves on the board of governors for the State Bar of Georgia, Stone Mountain Judicial Circuit, and is an adjunct professor at Emory University College of Law, and in 2017 was appointed by the Georgia Supreme Court to serve on the investigative panel of the newly reconstituted Judicial Qualifications Commission. Judge Hydrick received her bachelor's degree in English from Emory University in 1989 and earned her law degree from Georgia State University in 1992. She has been married to her husband, Carl Hydrick, for more than 25 years. Carl is the director of security at the Marcus Jewish Community Center, and they have lived in Dunwoody since 2001. They are the proud parents of two sons, Danny, age 23, a recent graduate of the University of Georgia, and Adam, 20, a sophomore at the University of Alabama. They are also the parents of two rescue dogs, Sammy and Riley. So, based on that news clip and the happenings that brought about calls for her to resign from the bench, what say you? What say you guys? As judges, lawyers, doctors, nurses, everyone in a professional uh, type of position. I don't care if you're working, at a low level like a CNA or a medical assistant. There's certain ethical things, moral things that you should, hold yourself to account for. What say you? Do you believe in any way, shape, or form that this incident, this one incident surrounding Judge Stacey Hydrick, will open the floodgates all of a sudden to allow Eligio Nature Boy Bishop to receive a new trial, even though he said out of his own mouth that she said no while describing. And now, the person that messaged me tried to say, well, okay, so it's just like when she said several times they made love, but she didn't mean that. So it's, like he didn't mean it. No, in his interrogation and conversation with the authorities, Eligio Nature Boy Bishop, aka Chief Life in Prison plus 10 years without the possibility of parole, was giving them a description of the events that occurred that night. So, what say you? Does he get a get out of jail free card because this judge made a poor judgment? Is Donald Trump going to write an executive order and release everyone that she has uh, properly sentenced by way of a jury verdict? I don't think so, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't think so. I'm sorry. I don't think so. And maybe it's just me, but I don't see it. That's why the title of this video is Carbonation's newest speculation, because this is truly a speculation. I think they're reaching. I think they're, shooting Hail Marys in the sky. I think anything that happens surrounding the professionals that had anything to do with this case is going to be brought to the forefront for them to believe that, oh my God, this is it, this is gonna free him. Mama's working. Oh, things are gonna happen. Things are about to change. Oh, he's gonna get out. Oh, this is it. This is it. I don't know how you get around you giving the police, the authorities, almost an hour's worth of a confession. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you are ever placed in those bracelets and ever seated in an interrogation room, even if you're pulled over for a ticket, a stop, gladly and proudly accept your right to remain silent. It is your right to remain silent. It is your right to not say a word. I'm not saying be uncooperative. I'm not saying, don't give them your ID and identify yourself. I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying is that you do not have to assist the authorities in doing their job. And unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, Nature Boy helped the police and the judicial system to convict him because he didn't keep his mouth shut. Had he kept his mouth shut, I don't know. I think the prosecution would have had a harder way to go. I don't think that the verdict would have been different simply because of the prosecution's the way they set the stage and set everything as far as the cult, and brought in the cult expert as well as the DV professional, as well as the other acts evidence, as well as other testimonials from other members in the cult. So I don't see him walking free if he would have kept his mouth shut. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't see him doing life plus 10 years without the possibility of parole though. You know what I'm saying? I think he'd probably end up like 20, 30, maybe 40 years. But life, I don't know. Now, to kind of circle back around, I want to go ahead and play a follow-up video that this Palestinian-born attorney did to provide an update regarding the situation surrounding Stacey Hydrick and her comments made on social media.
All right, guys. So I'm sure you have seen Judge Stacey Hydrick resigns from the Judicial Qualifications Commission, but she, in her letter that she writes, her resignation letter, she makes some interesting comments with respect to the Facebook comments that she wrote, where she doesn't believe that there are any innocent Palestinians in Gaza, and that it would be very hard to believe that there are any innocent Palestinians. This is what she says. And while I am confident my post does not constitute a violation of the rules of judicial conduct, I do not want the JQC or its investigative process to come under attack for any reason. And also, she fully expects to be exonerated. Okay. So I'd like to put forth an analogy on how this is a gross violation of the rules of judicial conduct. And if she didn't resign, she should have been removed. She should be removed. But she really needs to be removed from the bench completely. And here is why. Imagine that as an attorney, I ask the question to the veneer, the jurors that are potentially going to sit for my trial. And I have a Palestinian defendant. And it just so happens that one of the jurors says something exactly the same way Judge Hydrick posted on her Facebook thread. That the juror says he doesn't believe that there are any innocent Palestinians. Okay, that's just their bias, that's their belief. At that point, the attorney would not even need to use what's called a preemptory strike to say that this person is biased. We actually have a way in our jury selection system to show cause that this person is biased. And then the judge on the bench would rightly remove that juror from the panel of jurors in my case because he is showing a real bias. Now, if that is the application for a juror to be excused from serving on the jury, how much worse is it that a judge makes the same types of comments? If we have a system that says, no, the juror can be removed, and they can't be part of the 12 in a felony case to decide the fate of a defendant. It's unbelievably worse that a judge can preside over that type of case now knowing that this is what they believe. And she's not once apologized for it. She didn't say, oh, this was a mishap. This was, I shouldn't have said what I said. No, she believes that it does not constitute a violation and that should be fully exonerated. This is why we can't have nice things. This extreme arrogance, and specifically here, Jewish supremacy, that I did no wrong and I'm going to be exonerated, is absurd. And that's just another reason that she cannot preside on any matter when it comes to a Palestinian being a defendant or even a litigant or whatever the case may be due to her extreme bias. One more thing, just in case I get any type of anti-Semitic accusations, let me show you this. This is Judge Hydrick's website, and that's her right there. And just scroll down. Okay, meet Judge Hydrick. Endorsements, right? These are all of her endorsements. Attorney endorsements. Boom. See that? Right there. I actually contributed to her campaign to get her to be a judge. So anybody who wants to see this, just go to the website and you can see it right there. So anybody calling me anti-Semitic for bringing up all of her anti-Palestinian comments, just kindly go to this website and see that I supported her myself. It's very easy to see. It's right there. Thank you.
So he supported her bill and run in her campaign and provided endorsement for Judge Stacey Hydrick for her position on the Supreme Court. So he wanted to make it clear that he's not, biased or anything. He once was a supporter of her prior to what he views as racist comments regarding Palestinians. What say you guys? What say you, Replay Gang? What do y'all think? Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm going to play the short news clip one more time before we get up out of
Superior
here.
Court judge in DeKalb County is giving in to calls for her to step down from her role on the investigative panel of the Judicial Qualifications Commission. Now, these demands were made over Judge Stacey Hydrick's now deleted social media post about Gaza and the remains of an Israeli mother and her two sons. This week, the Council on American Islamic Relations of Georgia, or CAIR, condemned her post, saying her remarks demonstrate a clear bias against Palestinians and Muslims. The organization welcomed Hydrick's resignation, saying in part, quote, all those who administer justice in our state should avoid the perception that their biased views may impact their judicial actions.
Now, my opinion, I believe that Team Too Much is. I just believe that this situation with the Honorable Judge Stacey Hydrick will have no impact on Eligio Bishop, aka Nature Boy, aka Chief Life in Prison, plus 10 years without the possibility of paroles, trial, or conviction. I'm sorry. And maybe it's just me. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, y'all. But before we go, if I had one wish, if they had one wish, if they had one wish, if they had one wish, 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 one wish. Let me get up out of here, y'all. Thank you guys for joining. Please be sure to hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing today. Be sure to set your notifications to all so that you're notified when I go live or add new content. I'll catch y'all on the next one. And to the person that was DMing me, I appreciate you reaching out to me and, letting me know what's going on. If I missed something, that's awesome. That's great. But my position will always remain the same. He should have kept his mouth shut and he probably would have had a fighting chance. But because he felt that he was smarter than the fifth grader, and because he neglected the fact that this was the real world, not the internet, not his world that he created in his mind, not his projection, he's in this position and it's up and it's stuck. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Just my opinion. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, or night based on wherever you're tuning in from. I cannot see the comments, but I thank you all for being here. Moderators, I did see some early on. I checked the chat to make sure that, it was moving and people were in, but can't call y'all out by name, but y'all know what it is. Big up yourself. We in the building with it. Later, guys.